Gary Lineker, the nicest man in football. Here he is making a grovelling apology after sharing an inadvertently anti-Semitic tweet.
Unfortunately, I did not see the emoji. If I had, I would never ever have shared it.
How couldn't you see it, Gary? It was right there in front of you. In a moment, I am going to show you the video that Gary Lineker shared, but we will have to blur out the emoji because that is apparently what made it offensive.
The minute I was made aware, I quickly deleted the post and went on to make an apology. I would like once again to say I'm sorry unreservedly for the hurt and upset caused. It was a genuine mistake and oversight, but I should have been more diligent.
It's too late, Gary. You've already shared the emoji. But before we have a look at that, I want to show you a clip of Gary Lineker expressing his point of view on the Gaza issue. I think it's important to put that in context. So let's have a little look at a different chat he had with Mehdi Hassan.
I've got no skin in this game. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. So I see it, I think, purely from the outside, as from a neutral perspective.
Okay, sounds fairly level-headed so far. Doesn't sound particularly anti-Semitic.
And I can't think of anything that I've seen worse in my lifetime. The constant images of children losing their lives day in, day out. Now, obviously, we all know what October 7th happened, and the Hamas thing. But the minute you raise your voice against what they're now doing there, you get accused of being a supporter of Hamas or all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of heavy lobbying on people to be quiet. So I understand why most people refrain, but I'm getting on a bit now. I'm fairly secure, and I can't be silent about what's happening there. I think it's so utterly awful. And now they're talking about, it already looks like it's happening, going into Rafah, where they've sent everybody down there. So, I don't think you can be, it's not anti-Semitic to say that what Israel is doing is wrong.
Well, you say that. Shall we have a look at the video that he shared? We will have to blur out the emoji that was offensive. Okay, here comes the video, and on the screen you can see the emoji. It's a picture of what appears to be a mouse or a rat, and that could be construed as offensive to Jewish people. Gary held his hand up and acknowledged that, and he didn't spot it initially. And I think he was being honest when he said that. But let's have a look at the content of the video.
And then they make concessions on land that doesn't actually belong to them. The Zionist movement and Zionism on the ground is the idea of creating not only a Jewish state, but at the expense of the indigenous Palestinian population. What Zionism is the idea of privileging and giving exclusive rights to one group of people at the expense of another group of people. This isn't liberal. This isn't relating to equality. There isn't a single Zionist who's able to say that they actually believe that Palestinians have the exact same rights as Israelis who are living in that country. And this is the fundamental problem with Zionism. The fact that we're trying to make a distinction between what happened in 48 and what happened in 67 is a false distinction to be making. Zionism, as its fundamental core, is the idea of privileging one group of people over another. And the way that they created a Zionist state in the first place was to expel millions, hundreds of thousands, now millions of Palestinian refugees, including my family. And the way that you create a bigger Zionist state is to do the exact same process. I think that it's important to keep in mind that between the period of 1948 and 1967, which people are sort of trying to idealize as being the great years of Israel, there were Palestinians who were citizens of that state, were living under military rule. First of all, immigration issues. My family hails from a town that is in the Galilee, and they were ethnically cleansed from their homes in 1948, have never been allowed to return back, even though they themselves are citizens of the state of Israel. Were considered present absentees.
Can you believe that a picture of a mouse on a video like that cost Gary Lineker his job? Make it make sense. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Gary Lineker right? Should he have stepped down? Should he have apologised? And where does he go from here? Will he continue to speak out for the people of Palestine?